Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today is an exciting show. I'm going to tell you why. I know everybody heard of this word, OnlyFans. And today we're going to talk with a young lady who actually has gone through ups and downs, trauma, going through COVID, you name it. She's been through it. And she's going to share with us that I call the back door to the OnlyFans, how she got into the OnlyFans community, and to clarify some of the rumors, what I call it, of this industry. Now, let me clear this before we even go down the show. This is a judge-free show. My job is to educate, inform, and empower. We don't judge. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring to the show Jen, Pixar mom. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Hello, thank you.
Let's get right down to it. First of all, thank you for coming on the show. And this is a sensitive topic. Anytime you talk about sex, intimacy, which is really strange because the whole idea behind the world, we need love. And there's been a lot of misunderstanding about the new surface all over the internet that the OnlyFans that every woman seems to be embarked in. Let's take the viewers down a little bit of your road and how you even got there. Tell the viewers who you are, first of all.
So I've been a content creator on OnlyFans for almost 3 years. March of next year will be 3 years. I initially started it just because I had heard of it from other creators on Instagram posting about their subscription, this, that, or the other. So I went down a little OnlyFans rabbit hole to find out more information for myself. And I originally joined just as an extra income. And that was it. It was just going to be an extra income because I was already working a full-time job and I had no plans of it becoming a full-time gig.
But before that happened, before you went down, before you took the blue pill versus the red pill, what was your life like? Like, where are you from? And then where are you at now? Like, what were some of the struggles that you went through before you even got there? Because some people will look at that from an outside standpoint and say, wow, that's a desperate move. But what was your career like prior to even going there, before you went down to the rabbit hole?
I had moved to Florida from Georgia. I'm born and raised in Georgia, and I moved to Florida for a new job or a new career, not a job, a new career opportunity, teaching opioid prevention and awareness. And it was a nonprofit. And because of COVID, I lost my job. She couldn't afford to pay my salary. So I became unemployed. I was unemployed for 6 months. And during that time, I got my 215, which is a health and life insurance annuity license. And that's a really tough career to get started. It's not something that takes off immediately unless you just know people. And unfortunately, I don't. So I needed the income because at one point I lost my car. I got my car repossessed because I was unemployed. I couldn't afford a cup of coffee. I was riding my bike around.
So support as you was going through this, children, older children, your mom, your dad, sisters?
My mom passed 6 years ago, and I don't know my biological father, so I don't have family support, and my children aren't able to support me. That's not what I wanted to do, move back in with my children at 45, 46 years old. So that just was not an option for me. And I already had the OnlyFans account, that was just sitting in the back of my head. Like, you have this, you can see what you can do with this. So what are you doing here? Why are you struggling?
Right. So when you realized that maybe if you went down this OnlyFans road, what was the assurance that made you somewhat positive that you was going to succeed and make money out of it? Were your friends really making a lot of money? Did you know people personally that was doing it, was making money, and reached out to you and say, hey girl, you need to jump on this boat instead of struggling?
No, I did not know anybody personally that was a creator. Like I said, I just followed people on Instagram that was.
Hmm.
And like I said, I went down that rabbit hole, and that rabbit hole included watching a ton of videos on YouTube. And there's a lot of creators on YouTube that will actually take screenshots of their earnings and they'll post them up there for you to see. Now, whether it's their earnings or not, who knows? But they say it is. And they're
What were some of the
what
things that you saw that made you go, okay, I'm getting ready to really get in this rabbit hole?
I mean, like these people were making in 10, 20, $30,000 a month. So I'm like, okay. And then that's when the wheels started turning.
Did you share this with anybody that you decided to just try it out before? Because you have kids, you have at least friends. How long did you keep it secret, or did you consult with them before actually endeavoring in the project?
I told my kids that I was thinking about starting a page, and I felt like, I told them I don't feel like I need your permission, but I feel like I need to at least tell you about it in case you were to hear about it through the grapevine. It's just a kind of a respect thing, but I'm a grown woman. I don't need their consent, but I did tell them about it.
When you did create the page, now what happens to your life?
I think anybody that creates one, depending on what kind of content you put out there, if it's still worthy, you definitely have to deal with content being leaked. That's a huge thing that I'm having to deal with right now.
What do you
and
mean being linked for the viewers that don't? That's not into that world and understand
oh
what the
yeah
chemistry is and content being leaked. What is that? And how does it affect you if it does?
So when a subscriber comes in and they subscribe to my page, and let's say they may have purchased 3 or 4 videos from me, and I don't know who's sharing these videos, but they go to other sites, and they free sites where people can, I don't know their goal. I don't know if they're actually making money or if they're just out to try to, hurt my business. I really don't know. But there's free sites out there where they can post it on, where, you want to see her content, all you got to do is go here and look at it.
Does that not? I didn't know that. Didn't even think about that. That doesn't scare you that they're paying for it, so they own it. They own it, and they can do whatever they want.
No, it's like a Twitter site, or not Twitter, because what was the latest one that Fapello? I had never heard of it. There's so many sites out there that I don't know about, that I've never heard of. So it's impossible for anybody to keep up with them all, because I think new ones pop up all the time. So, that's what the scammers do. They continue to pop up new sites. So it's impossible to keep track of them all. But does it bother me? Yes, it does. But what can I do about it? Nothing.
What are you most afraid of now that you created this? This is one of the things that you mentioned. Like, what if you decide this isn't what you want to do, and all of a sudden here you go out for some type of executive interview, and all of a sudden somebody recognizes you? What are the 3 things that really scare you about what you've done so far with this thing? Actually, you made some money, but like you said, somebody could take your content. What are the things that you struggle with every day as you still work this business for yourself?
I would say meeting people in public. Like I have a couple of states blocked just for safety reasons, because I don't want to be pumping gas at the gas station and run into somebody that just watched my content last night. I don't want that to happen, but there are ways around it. They can get around me blocking this state, but I do my best to try to keep those away. So I always have a fear of someone coming up to me in public. And as I mentioned, because I do what I do, and people have this idea of me, or their opinion of me, sometimes people think they can approach you or talk to you just any kind of way. So that's another issue that you deal with, because it's a moral thing. It's a religious thing. People think I'm acting out of if I'm not religious, but people think I shouldn't be acting the way I'm acting as a 50-year-old woman. Everybody has their opinion of how you should be acting. You have that to deal with. There's a long list of things that you have to think about dealing with before you put yourself out there like this.
What was a time that these things have actually happened to you? Have you been in the store and approached rudely or stalked by somebody? Your stuff is out there.
Not, that's what the issue is. That's what the scare is for me. But mine happens just online. People coming in messaging me, or the more information I throw out about OnlyFans, it's going to be confusing because people don't know how the system works in there. But people also come in the door throwing money at you, thinking that they can just buy whatever they want from you, and just because they threw some money at you, that you're supposed to do what they say. Then you have to deal with that kind of attitude.
But some people will say, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not here to judge by any means whatsoever. But like you just said, some people may say, you put yourself out there. This is the outcome of it. What do you say about that?
I say it's not all bad. It's certainly not all bad. There's pros and cons to working a regular corporate job.
Right.
There's pros and cons to every career that you choose to have. Mine just happens to be something that's always been taboo. It involves nudity and sex. I don't know if I can say that here. You can edit it out, but those things have always been taboo.
How do you see yourself? How do you consider yourself? You consider yourself an artist, porn star, not a creator, but how do you classify yourself in what you do? This is your job.
I would say,
if you walked up to somebody, what would you say to them? They say, "What do you do for a living?"
When people ask me what I do for a living, I tell them I do life and health insurance, because not everybody's ready for that conversation.
Right.
And I'm not lying, at all, because I do health and life insurance. So I'm not lying to anybody. But not everybody gets the OnlyFans conversation, because they don't need to know.
Have you ever been in a situation to where you was doing your health and insurance and all that kind of stuff, and somebody say, "Hey, I know you"?
No, but when my social media accounts started taking off just a little bit, they weren't anywhere near where they are right now. I was very vocal about doing life and health insurance, because I was trying to get my career started. But what I didn't realize, that my social media wasn't the right place to advertise that. That was a dumb idea of mine, because then I got guys calling me pretending to be interested in insurance, wasting my time.
Right.
So
what was it like growing up in your house? We talked earlier when we did our pre-interview, and you talked about some of the traumas and stuff that you went through. What was it like growing up in?
I'm an only child. Mom was married to my biological father, but I never met him. And there were some things that went on with her second husband, and just her third husband of 26 years. That was my stepdad for 26 years. And my kid's grandfather, just when my mom passed away, he up and disappeared and married somebody else, and nobody's heard from him since.
Like, some of that, how much of your, let me put it a different way. How much of some of this, because I can hear in your voice when you talk about your childhood, there's some unresolved issues. How much of this you take into being a creator in the OnlyFans network for yourself?
We're going to get real deep here, because I don't know how, being an only child, or maybe it was the way I was brought up, I've always been a 100% people pleaser. like doing what everybody else wants me to do first. So when I told you that I've never felt more powerful in my life, that doing OnlyFans, this was my decision. I have to take all the negative. I have to put up with all of that. This was my decision. I felt strong enough to do it. And I know all the things that I took, I brought myself out of with no help. So I forgot what the question was.
No, you kind of answered. I was asking you, like, what part of your childhood trauma is in? Because now you.
That. Yeah. It's just overcoming being that people pleaser, and worrying about what everybody thinks of me. I mean, I've kind of been a rebel most of my life. I mean, I kind of march to the beat of my own drum. I don't do things just because other people want me to do them. So I can say that about myself. But yeah, it's just, man, overcoming being a people pleaser.
When you say power, all of a sudden, you elaborate a little bit more on it, because you keep saying, now I got power. What is the power? What is the euphoria in what you're doing now that you now say, I have power?
Because I run my business like I want to. I don't have to accept, I'm not in the position anymore that I have to accept somebody's $50 that they offer me because I'm desperate for the money. I work my own hours. As I said, I don't do things that I don't want to do. I could be making millions right now. If I added boys and girls to my content, I could be making millions, but I don't want to do it.
And what do you mean add to your content for the viewers? So when you create this site, you are the owner. You dictate how much money you make by what content, or mention what is it, category? Give me a little bit of the back door without releasing all the stuff. But how do you make more money doing what you're doing? And then what are some of the things that you won't do in your OnlyFans?
Okay. So when you sign up, anybody over the age of, I believe it's 21, can have an OnlyFans account. You can sign up to be a creator. You can sign up and never post a thing. You can just watch other people's free stuff. You can post pictures of your eyes, your arms. You can post anything you want, any kind of content you want, and you can put any price tag you want. The minimum price tag you can put on a video, and that's what we call in the OnlyFans world a pay-per-view video. So that's what you send. That's what you would send to your subscribers. And it's a video of whatever you decide to record.
Right.
And you can send it to all of your subscribers. You can put a price tag of $5 on there, and you can put a price tag of, I don't even know if there's a maximum, or $50. And everybody who, if they want to view that video, they have to pay that price tag that you attach to it.
You know what,
and
how do you know what's trending? Like, you're in the business now. How do you guys follow a lot of each other's trends and say, oh, I see she's making, $500. I'm gonna do this. I mean, is there a moral conduct for individuals that are in this profession? Or it's just like, well, I do whatever to get the money?
I imagine that there are creators out there that will do anything. There's a lot of creators out there that do more than I do, and there's some that do less than I do. You decide what you want to do. It's your decision.
What's trending right? No, let me redo this. Why is there such a demand for this right now, in your opinion? You got into it, you wasn't expecting to do it, it lingered on your shelf for a while, you're making money. We don't have to talk about how much money you're making, but why the sudden growth? Because there's tons of beautiful people out there, and I mean, is this a way of getting acceptance, or are we now being putting ourselves in a situation where the only way we buy ourselves is through likes, subscribe, and dollars? What do you think? As
I think
that, basically.
I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for other creators, but if you look at, you watch other people on Facebook, Instagram, and you can tell, or at least I feel like I'm a good judge of character if this person is genuine or if this person is just out for likes. Okay. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character in that arena. How do I know what's trending? I just went on a whim one day and started posting things I was already doing around the house anyway. I mean, like, why not make a video of it? And it started taking off. So sometimes it's a guess, sometimes it's a, oh, I think this might work, this is interesting, or sometimes it's, man, I spent 2 hours on this video and it got 12 likes. So I've already had a lot of my accounts banned, like permanently banned.
Wow.
And because they said I was posting nudity and sexual content.
Is it some of that? Is it some of that OnlyFans? Is it some of that? That's what it is.
No, this was on like TikTok. This was on TikTok and Instagram. I'm sorry. I've had several of those accounts banned because I was posting, inappropriate stuff, but I wasn't at the time. But anyway, that's another story. So you find out what's trending by watching other people. And like I said, mine just happened to take off. So that's what I focus myself doing, like being, just watering my plants, being the MILF next door, the sexy mom or grandmother next door that everybody wants. Like, I found my market by accident.
Right. My next question. We talked about the things that are trending. What are some of the things that you've been asked to do that you go, no, I'm not? Because I'm pretty sure you get some weird inboxes with your content. How do you control that? And what are some of the, without getting explicit, some of the things that you see more often in your field that you go, oh my God, I can't believe this is really happening? Like, what are some of the major topics that keep flooding your circle?
So one of the things that I had never heard of that I got asked a lot to do, and through conversation with other creators, they also got asked the same thing to do, was engage in race play.
And what?
That's a thing. Race play.
What's
where
that?
they want you to degrade them and call them that word.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know what else I can say on here, but I mean, there's some pretty, you would not believe the fetishes out in the world today. I wouldn't be able to, really? I wouldn't be able to say it.
But I'm asking what people may be afraid to ask. What are some of the things that just boggles you away? Because I know if I don't ask, somebody's going to inbox me. Well, you should have asked this. You should have asked this. What are some of those things?
Okay.
You can't believe.
People will pay for your pee.
Wow.
And people will pay for your other stuff.
They literally inbox this to you.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. So
I know. I figured you would be. But that's the thing about it. That's the beauty of it to me. You say, how is there beauty in that? Like I said, I don't judge other people's fetishes, okay? They're not harming me. They're just simply asking me a question if I engage in it. And that's when I say, no, I don't. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It's the same if you ever have gone into a swingers club. If you want to go and just view, you can do that. If you say no to the people that you don't want to join, they respect it, and you go on about your day. That's the beauty of it. It's my business. I can tell you if I want to do it or not.
Now, you're a grandmother. You have a family. How do they feel about what you do now? Because I'm pretty sure you said you're pretty open with them. What's their take on as to how they receive the fact that their mother and grandmother or whatever is now engaged in a business that people have a tendency to be either misinformed. Let me rephrase it. People be either misinformed or judgmental.
Mm-hmm. I can just say that, originally when I told my family about it, and I just basically left it on the table because then I didn't know how I was going to run my business. But I've always said to them, it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. But if you have questions, please ask me. I'm not going to get offended. I want to make sure that they know that they can come to me and ask me anything they want. Do they know exactly, detail for detail, what I'm doing there? I don't know. We've never talked about it, but that would be our conversation to have. And they've never asked it yet. And if they do, like I said, it will be an uncomfortable, weird, awkward conversation, but we'll have it. And they're adults, so we can talk through it like adults.
The viewers may be engaged in questions after watching it. How would you educate the viewers who clearly may not understand it, that naturally they're going to be judgmental? But if you were on the outside looking in, what would you share with them about what you do and why you do it? So it makes sense to them who are listening.
Well, I don't know if my journey is going to make sense to anybody, but like I said, I have overcome some things, and I've always struggled. I've lived paycheck to paycheck. I've robbed Peter, 100,000 times to pay Paul. And when my children grew up and they were out of the house, I almost felt a sense of extreme freedom, because being a single mother is hard. It is one of the hardest things I've ever done. So my journey is going to be different. My reasoning was for money. I was tired of struggling financially. So that's my reasoning. And that can be different than somebody else's. And the money that I'm comfortable with may also be different than somebody else is comfortable. But I did it for money. Strictly for money, and that's why I'm still doing it. And what was your other question? What would I tell them?
Yeah, what would you tell them about your career, your OnlyFans? So they can get a clear understanding.
I would say if this is your first time hearing of OnlyFans, and you're curious about more, do the research. Don't just go to one site and listen to someone tell you that it's this or that, or the other. Gather information from several sources, and maybe even from someone that's actually a creator, not just reading some news and you don't know where in the world it came from, before you form an opinion of what it is. But if it's not, this is what I don't understand about people too. If this is not your thing, if like you, Andre, you said you'd never heard of it, so you don't click on things. So this is not going to pertain to you. So maybe you don't want to go down this rabbit hole, So be sure that you're ready to, because this may be a world that may shock you. It may shock you because you just were floored and speechless about some of the requests. So just know, if you are curious, know that there's going to be some things that might make you go,
Right.
So be ready for that.
And you know what? I really appreciate you taking us into your world and giving a little bit of clarification. And you're right. If you don't like it, don't click on it. And if you click on it and don't like what you see, then, naturally you just educated me, you educated the viewers on your fan page only, because remember, everyone, like you said, has a different layout of their page. So with that in mind, leave the viewers with something positive before we wrap up today's show.
I would say, as I said, in my journey is different than yours, but the biggest take that I can take from myself is learning to love myself throughout all this process, because I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate. I'm going to get a lot of backlash. I'm going to get a lot of people thinking whatever they want to think about me. And I have to realize that I don't think all of those things about myself, because I've been on this journey for a long time of learning to love myself and my flaws. So if that's something that the viewer, if you're watching it, that's something that you don't think you have enough of, is love for yourself, then man, get to work. I don't know what that work is for you, but that's something that you got to figure out, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, hey, thank you so much for coming on and sharing that information with us. How can the viewers reach out to you if they want to know more about what you do, and if they have questions and maybe we didn't answer on this show?
So I have a website, and it's the pixarmom.com, and it's spelled Pixarmon.
This has been another exciting episode.